No, 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 no! Wait! Russo! I'm gonna watch you die! Where'd they take him?
I don't know!
Fair enough.
The series opens with Frank relentlessly tracking down everyone responsible for his family's murder.
The cartels, the kitchen neighbors, they're all...
I don't.
For God's sake.
Room, you dirty bastards.
One match.
¡Oh, pinche Punisher de mierda!
6 months pass. Frank now lives under a false name, Pete Castiglione, and works at a construction site in New York.
Hey, what's the story? But they don't ask you to work extra, they don't pay you for it. Penthouse type of thing. Hey, whatever. So you were getting less overtime.
Kick his ass.
You don't want me for an enemy, man.
In the evenings, Frank visits a veteran support group led by Curtis Hoyle, his old friend from Afghanistan. Curtis, who now helps soldiers recover from trauma, worries about him. He tells Frank that he cannot keep living like a dead man, that half his life still lies ahead. Frank answers quietly that to the world he already is dead.
To Maria and the kids are dead. The only person you're punishing is yourself.
Thank you for the coffee.
Back at the construction site, Donnie overhears Lance and another worker, Paulie, plotting to rob an illegal poker game to pay off debts to a loan shark.
Got a thing tonight. Make us some Yeah. All right, I'll help you out.
All right. Keep it running.
Get up, come on! Nobody! You get what he got! Eyes down!
None of you was packing, so no heroics, huh?
It's on the
You
table!
want any idea whose game this?
What are you doing?
You really screwed this up, Donald.
I made a mistake, man. I'm so... If you didn't...
Come on! Turn it off!
Hey.
I get it.
Start with this kid, Donald Chavez. My guy... Christ, get this...
As he walks away into the night, unaware of what follows him, a hidden camera captures his every move. Meanwhile, in Homeland Security, Agent Dinah Madani is introduced. She has just been transferred from Afghanistan to New York and is deeply frustrated. She had been investigating the murder of a local police officer who had discovered American soldiers smuggling heroin during the war.
Men they got up to fight.
Stupid.
Stupid.
It's a Hodges. How many weeks now?
Hey, like that again. You got that? Do you got...
Later, Frank stops at a small diner to eat in silence, trying to bury the ghosts that follow him. His thoughts are suddenly interrupted by a phone call from a man who calls himself Micro. The stranger somehow knows that Frank is alive and reminds him about a disc left behind in his house, making it clear that their fates are connected. Frank rushes outside to confront the man but finds no one, only a cell phone left behind for future contact. That night, Frank wakes from yet another nightmare of watching his wife Maria die in front of him. The pain pushes him to watch the disc Micro mentioned, which contains disturbing footage of an interrogation and execution of a man named Ahmad Zubair by masked soldiers. Realizing that this may be linked to his own past, Frank seeks out Curtis, his trusted friend and fellow veteran.
After me.
And if you got it from me,
Look, it's a short list, though.
I would never give you
I
one.
know that. I just... He said that what happened to Maria and the kids, I didn't get over. Scoot over. Kill your family. What if I did?
Meanwhile, Agent Dinah discusses a similar matter with her partner Sam. She reveals that during her service in Afghanistan, she once received the same video showing Zubair's execution, which convinced her that American operatives were responsible. Before she could investigate further, the footage was stolen and Homeland Security pulled her out of the case. Sam dismisses the matter, believing there is no point pursuing men like Schoonover and Frank, since both are dead. However, Dinah insists that one of their old comrades, Billy Russo, might hold answers. Knowing her superior Carson Wolf will never allow her to question him directly, she cleverly proposes organizing a mock training operation for Homeland agents, hiring Billy's private security company, Anvil, to oversee it. Carson, intrigued by her initiative, agrees to the plan.
Hey, lady, I'm real hungry. You got any change?
Still all hard, huh?
Things got this bad, Frank?
Somebody that knows that I'm still alive.
You should know me better than that. I would never...
I could really use your help. This guy, he calls himself Micro, right? Like that's supposed to mean.
Karen searches the archives of the New York Bulletin but finds no trace of him. When she consults her editor, Mitchell Ellison, he admits that he once worked on a story about a hacker leaking government secrets, but dropped it after being warned by Carson that it would interfere with a national operation. Disappointed by Ellison's decision, Karen convinces him to share whatever he still has. He reluctantly provides her with an unpublished article about David Lieberman, a former intelligence officer who was declared dead after being hunted by Homeland Security. At his secret hideout, Micro, whose real name is David Lieberman, watches his family through hidden cameras. He observes his wife Sarah struggling to manage their children alone, as his son Zach becomes frustrated and rebellious, missing the father he believes to be dead. Micro longs to speak to them, to reassure them that he still watches over them, but he can only whisper words they will never hear. During the field exercise arranged by Dinah, Sam nearly makes a fatal mistake, and Billy calmly defends him afterward, explaining that fear and instinct often blur in real missions. Dinah tries to question Billy about his past in Afghanistan, but their conversation is cut short when Carson interrupts. Before leaving, Billy suggests that they continue the talk privately, and later invites her out for a drink.
I found something. It makes sense if I want to help you, but not if it's going to get someone killed.
He came to me. Careful.
David Lieberman was shot and killed trying to escape arrest by Homeland Security.
Using this lead, Frank stages an accident by letting Sarah Lieberman hit him with her car. Concerned, she brings him inside her house, unaware of who he really is. Watching from afar, Micro panics, fearing for his family's safety, and rushes toward the house with a gun. Inside, Frank learns that Sarah believes her husband has been dead for a year, and he sympathizes with her pain, revealing that he too lost his family. Their shared grief creates a fragile connection that only deepens Micro's distress as he watches helplessly from the shadows. That night, Frank disguises himself completely by shaving his beard and cutting his hair, ensuring that even Micro's recognition software cannot identify him. He tracks down Carson, capturing and interrogating him to learn about Micro's supposed death.
This is the stupidest thing you've ever done.
You're gonna tell me about David Lieberman. Lieberman was a traitor. He was selling secrets.
Tonight's the night you're gonna die, Frank.
Kill my family to get to me.
This
Gun's empty, asshole.
Later, Dinah meets Billy for drinks, discussing their shared experiences in Afghanistan. When she subtly brings up Frank, Billy defends him as an honest man who was betrayed by the system he served. Their meeting ends abruptly when Dinah receives news that Carson has been found dead, and with his death, she is promoted to senior agent. Elsewhere, Frank finally tracks down Micro and confronts him inside his secret hideout. Micro wakes up disoriented and finds himself completely naked, tied to a chair with thick zip ties, while Frank stands before him, cold and silent. Frank begins interrogating him, demanding to know who he really is and why he has been following him. As the questioning intensifies, a digital countdown suddenly begins on the computer screen beside them, giving them only 3 minutes. Micro explains in a panic that it is a fail-safe mechanism designed to protect his hideout. If the timer reaches 0, it will trigger an explosion that will kill them both. He insists that the only way to stop it is through a code and a retinal scan. The scene then shifts to a flashback from a year earlier when Micro receives a mysterious disc while at home with his wife, Sarah. Although Sarah warns him not to interfere with classified material, Micro feels compelled to act after watching the disturbing footage of Ahmad Zubair's assassination. Believing that exposing the crime is the right thing to do, he secretly sends the video to Agent Dinah through an anonymous email account.
Your turn, Dad. Dad? I'll make it there.
Stay in the car. No matter what happens. Car, stay in the car.
David, what's going on? Dad!
No! This is a mistake! I handle this! Get out! Happy! Sarah! Get down to the knee! Cell phone saved my life.
Back in the present, Billy visits Curtis's veteran support group, offering a generous donation. Curtis encourages him to attend more often so that other veterans can see how well he has adapted to civilian life. Billy, however, tries to convince Curtis to join his private security company, Anvil, calling him one of the finest corpsmen he ever served with. Their exchange hints at mutual respect, though both men are haunted by the same ghosts of war. Meanwhile, Frank continues interrogating Micro inside the hideout. Through another flashback from 2 years ago, Frank and Billy are shown in Afghanistan, attending a secret briefing led by Ray Schoonover and an unknown CIA operative known only as Agent Orange. They are selected for Operation Cerberus, a classified strike unit made up of the most skilled soldiers. Later, Frank and Billy meet their teammate, Gunnar Henderson, and begin missions that will eventually stain their souls forever. At the same time, a young veteran named Lewis Wilson speaks at the support meeting about a traumatic friendly fire incident that still torments him. Another veteran, O'Connor, hands him a pamphlet about the right to bear arms, telling him that every soldier must protect himself even after war. Later that night, Lewis, unable to sleep, wakes in panic when his father enters his room. Confused and paranoid, he fires a gun at him but narrowly misses, leaving both shaken and afraid of what he might become.
There are no explosive devices in this place. If there were...
Smile, Frank, you're on candid camera. I don't enter code. Let me get sent to various media outlets and the whole world knows that I could broadcast my murder to the world.
Another flashback returns to Kandahar, where the Cerberus squad captures Ahmad Zubair. Agent Orange brutally tortures him, demanding to know who else is aware of their operation. When Zubair insists that no one else knows, Orange orders Frank to execute him. Reluctantly, Frank shoots the man and later digs the bullet out of the corpse to destroy evidence. Gunnar Henderson, disturbed by what they have done, begins to question the morality of their mission, realizing they have crossed a line that cannot be undone. Elsewhere, Curtis and Billy visit Frank's grave, drinking to his memory and mourning what became of him. Curtis slips and mentions something Frank had recently said, which makes Billy suspicious, though Curtis covers it up as something Frank told him long ago after the loss of his leg. Meanwhile, Dinah, now promoted after Carson's death, discusses the situation with her mother and later reviews evidence with her partner, Sam. He discovers that Carson had over $30 million hidden in offshore accounts, confirming that his death is not just a random killing. Dinah tells Sam to keep the information secret since she cannot trust anyone within Homeland Security.
Hey.
Why didn't you kill me?
Oh my God, man. Routines, right? Patterns.
Christ. I don't do partners.
Through another flashback to Kandahar, Frank receives a message from his wife, Maria, who surprises him with Bruce Springsteen tickets for when he returns home. Moments later, Schoonover and Agent Orange brief the team on a mission that Frank immediately senses is a trap. His instincts prove right as the operation turns chaotic. Schoonover loses his arm, and the team barely escapes after Frank fights with unmatched fury to clear the way. When they return, Orange is more concerned about whether the target was killed than about his injured men, which enrages Frank. He attacks Orange, leaving him blinded in one eye, and Billy has to restrain him, quietly advising him to leave the service before it consumes him completely. When Frank finally recovers from the drug in the present, Micro tells him that Operation Cerberus never officially existed. It was an illegal Black Ops mission, unapproved by Congress and erased from every government record. Realizing how deeply the corruption runs, Frank agrees to work with Micro under one condition. Every person responsible must die, without exception or trial. Micro, seeing the same fire in Frank's eyes that drives his own sense of justice, accepts without hesitation.
You turn around and pull the trigger. You got Greeks. Where is it? Greeks. The hell is that?
I don't hand it overloaded, my friend. I'm just a guy trying to make a living.
Believe in God, Dirk.
M4, M40, ammo and grenades, right? He didn't have any of that shit. Nothing. With the pink Ruger and no ammo? Is that what you want to do, Lieber?
Nope. You found my goddamn guns.
At the same time, Homeland Security is dealing with its own complications. Sam informs Agent Dinah about an incoming shipment of illegal arms from the Greeks. While Sam suggests that they intercept the weapons before they land, Dinah prefers to catch the smugglers during the sale so that their entire network can be exposed. Their discussion is interrupted when Rafael Hernandez arrives with unsettling news. The office of the Inspector General is taking over Carson's corruption case. Since Carson's betrayal has stained the department's reputation, Rafael advises Dinah to stay focused on her work if she hopes to rise in her career. Meanwhile, Frank cleans and maintains one of Micro's old guns. In the middle of this, Sarah Lieberman, Micro's wife, calls. She asks for help completing an insurance statement about the car accident that supposedly killed her husband. Micro watches silently as Frank agrees to help her in exchange for new intelligence about a hidden weapons cache. At the same time, Curtis pays a visit to Lewis. He finds the young veteran inside the foxhole and tries to convince him to return to the support group. Lewis admits that he regrets leaving the army because civilian life feels empty and meaningless. He tells Curtis that he plans to join Anvil, Billy's private military company, hoping that returning to combat will give him a purpose again. Soon after, Frank arrives at the Lieberman house to sign the insurance papers. While there, he notices Sarah's daughter Leo struggling to fix the garbage disposal and helps her repair it. The small interaction softens him for a moment, reminding him of his own lost family. Before leaving, he offers to fix the broken car headlight so she does not have to worry about the claim anymore, subtly protecting her from any risk of suspicion. At Anvil, Billy welcomes his new recruits, including Lewis. During training, Lewis impresses Billy by encouraging another recruit to keep pushing through exhaustion. Yet, behind his discipline, his mind remains unstable. Curtis later warns Billy that Lewis is not ready for combat, but Billy decides to evaluate him himself. When he visits Lewis's backyard and discovers the foxhole, he confronts him about it. Lewis becomes defensive and agitated, and when Billy provokes him, his violent temper surfaces. Billy immediately realizes that Curtis was right. Lewis is a danger to himself and others. Meanwhile, Micro tracks down the exact location of the Greek weapons shipment and informs Frank. As Homeland Security prepares to raid the operation, Frank heads to Mazur's garage where a gang is torturing a man named Wilcox.
Get him out of here. If you scream, you die. That's a long time. Whoa, 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 whoa.
You know how a guy misses a shot from 10 yards?
I don't know who you are, man. Just let me go.
Meeting point. All clear. No surprises.
10 minutes from go, no go at the meeting point.
Sniper 1.
What the? One, please respond. Tactical?
Shit!
Down.
Drop the guns!
Take the van.
Something's happened to the truck. They were last at Pier 9. Just get there. It's being ripped off.
Greg, you head for that.
What did you do? I do? Yeah. Stay out of my way, Madani.
At the hideout, tension runs high between Frank and Micro. Micro is furious because Frank has exposed himself by saving Dinah, revealing to Homeland Security that he is still alive. He warns that if Frank's name appears anywhere in the system, Agent Orange will track them down in no time. Frank, however, throws the blame back at Micro, saying that none of this would have happened if he hadn't rammed Dinah's car during the operation. Frank leaves the hideout and heads to the Lieberman house, where he quietly repairs Sarah's broken car. When Sarah and her daughter Leo invite him to stay for dinner, he accepts, though it is clear that her son Zach resents his presence, sensing the strangers' growing closeness with their mother. Elsewhere, Dinah returns to work despite being told to rest. Her colleagues, Sam and Rafael Hernandez, review the failed Greek arms operation when she walks in. Although Dinah hides the fact that Frank rescued her, Rafael scolds her for disobeying orders and jeopardizing the mission. He informs her that the Office of the Inspector General will be conducting a full investigation since the stolen weapons truck is now unaccounted for. Left alone, Dinah begins to dig into Frank's old files, ignoring calls from Billy. While reviewing case photos, she comes across one of Frank standing beside Karen Page, the journalist who once covered his trial. The connection sparks an idea. Meanwhile, at the hideout, Micro studies the video of Ahmad Zubair's execution again. He realizes that whoever filmed it had risked their life to expose what happened. Judging by the angle, he concludes that the cameraman must have been Gunnar Henderson, one of Frank's old teammates from Operation Cerberus. Frank immediately understands what that means. Henderson must have known the mission was corrupt and may have tried to reveal Agent Orange's crimes. Determined to find him, Frank and Micro begin their search. At Homeland Security, Dinah summons Karen Page for questioning. She asks about Frank's time in Afghanistan and his connection to the Cerberus team. Page listens carefully, but pretends to know little, claiming that since Frank is dead, there is nothing left to discuss. Later, Dinah privately tells Sam to help her locate soldiers who were present at Zubair's execution, including Frank and Henderson. Sam refuses, reminding her that the case is a dead end that no one wants reopened. Dinah finally reveals her secret. Frank is alive and recently saved her life. She insists that she must find out what he is after, even if she cannot tell anyone else. Sam warns her that if the investigators question him, he won't lie to protect her. Meanwhile, at CIA headquarters, Agent Orange, whose real name is William Rollins, gives a motivational speech to new recruits, glorifying the agency's duty to protect the nation at any cost. Later, he secretly listens to Dinah's office conversations and hears Sam mention Henderson's name.
You're gonna die. Hey.
So I had an interested Homeland Security investigation. She knows you're alive.
People came after me, came after him. Got out ahead of it, played possum.
I think that is all that life is. We're just... Say that these men died, right? You get what...
What should I do?
You expose them.
You don't get to do that. You don't get to do that. If you say I can't do both at once, what do you mean I don't have to keep what I know? They're gone!
As the OIG begins individual questioning at Homeland, both Dinah and Sam face tough interviews. When Sam is asked whether he suspects anyone, he deliberately avoids mentioning Frank, just as Dinah expected. Later, the two agree to continue investigating Frank's old unit, but Sam insists that if they find nothing within a week, he will report everything to Rafael. Meanwhile, William receives a medal for his outstanding service from Marion James at the CIA. In a private conversation, James talks about becoming director and considers William as her deputy, though she warns that his covert past could complicate her political ambitions. William assures her that there are no skeletons left in his closet, concealing the truth about the crimes he helped orchestrate. Back at the hideout, Micro traces Gunnar Henderson's possible location to a remote forest cabin in Kentucky. He and Frank drive there together, but Frank scouts the area alone. As he approaches the cabin, he is struck in the arm by an arrow. Henderson's warning shot. Frank convinces him that he is not working with Agent Orange and only wants answers. Once he earns Henderson's trust, the former soldier reveals that Cerberus used heroin trafficking to secretly fund their operations and smuggled the drugs inside the bodies of the dead. Henderson explains that Colonel Morty Bennett oversaw the scheme alongside William. Before they can discuss further, a helicopter descends nearby.
How many?
5.
from above. I'm coming for you.
Everything's gonna be okay.
4 of them. 4, yeah. Good. Be very careful. A toast? Welcome home, Frank.
Welcome home.
Frank.
Thank you.
Oh,
Dad, we'll grab that, alright?
No, 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 no! Wait, wait. Hey. Wait. Wait. Hey!
He wakes up gasping, drenched in sweat, realizing it was just another nightmare, but one that feels painfully close to reality. Micro, panicked by Frank's worsening condition, decides to call Curtis for help. At the hideout, Curtis removes the arrow that pierced Frank's shoulder, working quickly to prevent infection. Micro tries to assist, but the sight of blood nearly makes him sick, forcing Curtis to scold him for dragging Frank into a war that only causes more pain. Once the wound is cleaned and stitched, Curtis warns Micro to think carefully about what kind of life he's trying to save, reminding him that Frank was supposed to find peace, not another battlefield. Elsewhere, Billy wakes beside Dinah after another night together. As he quietly gets dressed, he notices the open case file on Frank lying near her bed. The sight makes him uneasy, and he starts to suspect that her involvement with him might not be as personal as he thought, that she might be using him to get closer to the truth about Frank. Back at the hideout, Frank wakes with a groan and immediately asks about Gunnar Henderson. When Micro informs him that Henderson didn't make it, Frank's face hardens with guilt and grief. He worries about keeping the promise he made to his old comrade, but Micro reassures him that he has already arranged for Henderson to receive a proper burial. Frank thanks him quietly, understanding that even in small ways, Micro is learning what loyalty really means. At Curtis's support group, the meeting grows tense when O'Connor begins another one of his bitter speeches about how America mistreats its veterans. Curtis listens for a while before telling a story from his days as a corpsman about tending to an injured goat that kept getting hurt no matter how much care it received. The story isn't about the animal, it's about the pain soldiers carry when they can't heal themselves.
Where'd you get that skateboard from?
From Dinesh, I'm borrowing it.
You're lying right to my face. I know that you... Hey!
Mother called me, and I didn't believe her till I saw the traitor.
If she didn't narc on me today, she'll...
At the same time, Billy sends out encrypted radio messages using the old Marine code names Blackbird and Raven. Micro intercepts the signal, and Frank recognizes Billy's voice immediately. Though Micro fears it could be a trap, Frank assures him that Billy is a friend, though part of him worries that his old brother-in-arms might already know he's alive. In the city, Lewis and O'Connor stand outside a courthouse handing out pamphlets in support of gun rights. When a police officer tries to disperse them, Lewis insists that they are protesting peacefully. But when he gestures with his hands, the officer accuses him of reaching for a weapon and arrests him. Dinah later learns from Sam that Gunnar Henderson's body has been found in the Kentucky woods. When she visits the site, she studies the scene and realizes that 2 men were involved in the gunfight, one of whom must have been Frank. She orders DNA testing, certain that her instincts are right. Lewis, now released, visits Curtis and asks for help. Curtis shows him documents proving that O'Connor was lying about his military service. The man was never in Vietnam and never earned a Silver Star. Furious at being deceived, Lewis confronts O'Connor and, in the heat of rage, kills him during a struggle. Meanwhile, Dinah finally confides in Billy that Frank is alive and asks for his help in finding him. Billy appears concerned and goes straight to Curtis to ask if he knows anything. Curtis denies involvement, but Billy warns that the government already suspects the truth. Frustrated, Curtis tries to contact Frank, but when he gets no answer, he storms out. Micro convinces Frank to respond to Billy's next call if he truly trusts him. Later that night, Frank meets Billy at the waterfront. The reunion is tense but genuine. Frank tells him everything Henderson revealed about Kandahar, the heroin smuggling, and the men behind it, William, Schoonover, and Bennett. Billy listens carefully and offers Frank a way out, a new identity and a job overseas with Anvil. Frank doesn't commit, but the thought lingers. That night, posing as Pete Castiglione, Frank visits Sarah Lieberman again. She confides in him about her family's struggles and how broken everything feels. Watching from the cameras, Micro's heart aches, but Frank lifts Sarah's spirits by telling her that better days will come.
He ain't coming.
Why are you at work? How long's it been since you slept? Doc Rhodes gave me these when your mother passed.
At Homeland Security headquarters, Billy arrives to see Dinah. His calm smile hides the tension beneath, as he tells her he tried to reach out to Frank through old contacts, but found nothing. According to him, Frank is dead. Dinah refuses to believe it. She explains that the evidence from Kentucky shows one survivor from the firefight, and she is convinced it was Frank. Billy promises to look deeper, masking the unease in his eyes. Later, Sam argues bitterly with Dinah, frustrated that she brought Billy into the investigation. He believes her feelings are clouding her judgment, but she ignores his warnings. As she reviews her files, Dinah realizes that Gunnar Henderson was killed almost immediately after she and Sam listed him as a lead, and the timing feels too precise. Suspicion creeps in that someone inside her office might be spying on them. Meanwhile, deep underground in Micro's hideout, Frank and Micro work on their next mission. Their goal is Fort Bryan, where Colonel Morty Bennett is stationed, a man who can lead them to Agent Orange. Micro has spent days analyzing Bennett's routine and promises that everything is mapped down to the minute. The idea of breaking into an American military base, fighting soldiers who are just doing their duty, feels wrong. Elsewhere, Billy meets William Rawlins in a dimly lit CIA safe house. He updates William about Dinah's investigation, assuring him that without Henderson, she has nothing solid to chase. William, however, is not satisfied. He reminds Billy that letting Frank live was a mistake, one that could destroy them both if the truth ever comes out. Billy pushes back, pointing out that William owes him his life from Kandahar. That if not for him, Frank would have already finished the job back then. When William mentions that Frank is targeting Bennett, Billy coldly suggests they shouldn't warn him. If Bennett panics or runs, he might talk. Better to let things unfold and deal with the aftermath. That night, Bennett enjoys time with his mistress in his residence, unaware that danger lurks outside. Under Micro's remote guidance, Frank silently breaches the compound, moving like a shadow through the halls. As he confronts Bennett, the mistress betrays him by triggering an alert. Suddenly, a strike team from Anvil led by Billy himself bursts in, surrounding the house. Micro hacks into Bennett's phone, installing a tracker while Frank fights his way through the ambush using smoke bombs and stealth. He disables the Anvil agents one by one, refusing to kill them even as bullets shatter the air around him. Meanwhile, Lewis sits with his father, who tries once again to reach him. As they watch television, Clay tells him that the war is over, that he needs to start fighting for his own life now. But Lewis can't hear him. His mind is lost in the past, consumed by guilt and rage. Later, he goes to a hardware store, his expression eerily calm as he buys supplies. Back at O'Connor's house, he begins to assemble bombs, the rhythmic sound of tools replacing the voice of his conscience. Back in the city, Billy brings Bennett to the CIA safe house to face William. Furious, Bennett demands answers, realizing he was used as bait to lure out Frank. William stays composed, assuring him that his service is appreciated but no longer needed. He tells Bennett he'll be retired under a new identity for his safety. When Bennett leaves, his phone remains behind, a mistake that allows Micro to trace the safe house's location. At Homeland, Dinah and Sam search her office and find the bug, a small device disguised as a mounting screw. Shocked, they realize someone close has been feeding information to their enemies. Later, sitting outside with drinks, Sam admits he missed a date, while Dinah jokes bitterly that her job leaves no space for family or friends. When Sam remarks that she reminds him of Frank, driven, obsessed, and alone, she denies it, though deep down she isn't sure anymore.
Be careful.
Place is this?
Relax.
Sum up the goods fast, or I'm gonna die from looking at this wall.
It's done.
One badge.
In the quiet halls of a hospital, Billy stands beside the bed of a woman who once gave him life and then abandoned him. His mother, Carla, lies unconscious, her fragile frame almost unrecognizable. Despite the years of resentment buried inside him, Billy has never stopped paying her medical bills. As he talks to her unresponsive form, his words are calm but heavy with meaning. He tells her that Frank, his closest friend, has returned, but that Frank's survival threatens everything Billy has built. When Carla suddenly stirs and begins to panic, Billy gently presses a syringe into her IV, sedating her once again. He looks down at her with a cold smile, whispering that her cruelty made him strong, that her rejection forged the man he is now. If she had ever truly wanted him, he says softly, she could have had the world. Back in the hideout, Micro examines a photo captured through Frank's rifle scope and freezes when he recognizes the face of Agent Orange William Rawlins, the CIA's director of covert operations. Fear ripples through him. He warns Frank that digging into William's identity could draw the CIA's attention to them. But Frank remains unshaken. William's crimes were off the books, no record, no evidence, nothing the agency could officially act on. That makes William vulnerable, not powerful. When Micro notices that the security cameras at his home have gone dark, panic sets in. Without hesitation, he urges Frank to go to the Lieberman house to make sure his family is safe. At the Lieberman house, Frank arrives with a bouquet of flowers in hand, offering a polite smile as Sarah opens the door. She tells him she unplugged the router to punish Zach for misbehaving, unaware that her decision has cut off Micro's surveillance feed. Frank discreetly plugs it back in, restoring the camera link. To keep up appearances, he accepts her offer of wine, and the two sit together, talking about loss, loneliness, and family. For a fleeting second, comfort turns into something deeper as Sarah leans in and kisses him. Frank freezes, then gently pulls away, guilt flashing across his face. Later, back at the hideout, Micro, slightly drunk, assures Frank that he doesn't blame either of them. But his voice trembles with hurt all the same. At Homeland Security, Dinah discusses a supposed lead with Sam. Frank may have contacted an arms dealer named Jack DeLeon, but what seems like investigative work is actually bait because their real enemy, William, is still listening through the hidden bug in Dinah's office. Across the city, William meets Billy in a secure location. The two men speak quietly, planning Frank's death. Billy warns that using official channels would expose them both, and William agrees. It has to be done off the record. With Anvil's trained operatives either dead or compromised, Billy proposes hiring a team of rogue ex-contractors wanted for civilian killings in Iraq. They have no country, no morals, and everything to gain. Later that night, Frank and Micro share drinks in the hideout, the air thick with tension. The two laugh over memories of how they met their wives, but the laughter soon fades. Micro argues that they should come clean to Dinah, that Homeland could take down William legally, ending the bloodshed. Frank's reply is ice cold. He doesn't deserve a prison, he says. He deserves a grave. The argument escalates until Micro, furious, calls Frank a war-addicted psychopath and grabs the phone to contact Dinah himself. Frank stops him with brutal efficiency, knocking him out before he can make the call. At Homeland, Dinah and Sam hold a secret briefing. They've realized their office is compromised, so they plan a counterattack. The fake tactical files uploaded into their system will serve as bait when their enemies move. Homeland will be waiting. Dinah gives her agents the true mission details on paper, ensuring nothing digital can be traced. Meanwhile, Billy meets the mercenaries he recruited. In a dimly lit warehouse, he outlines their orders: find and kill Frank. In return, they'll receive enough money and political cover to vanish from the Department of State's radar. The men accept, their eyes gleaming with greed. Morning comes. Micro wakes up, nursing a headache, to find Frank sitting silently nearby. Frank lays down the truth. He never wanted Sarah, never crossed the line, and they won't go to Dinah, not yet. But when Sarah calls in distress, saying she found a knife in Zach's backpack, Frank's resolve softens. He goes to talk to the boy, who confesses through clenched fists that he just wanted someone else to hurt the way he does. Frank calms him, showing him how to redirect anger instead of letting it rot. They end up tossing a football in the yard, a brief glimpse of peace, until Frank notices someone watching. It's Micro, standing in the distance, tears in his eyes. Frank orders him to leave before his presence endangers them all. To ease the blow, Frank promises they'll talk to Dinah soon.
Drop your weapons again!
I said drop it!
You're gonna be okay. Stay with me. It's okay.
Dinah remains trapped in grief after losing her partner, Sam. Confined to her bed and unable to recover from the shock, she blames herself entirely for his death. Her mother, Farah, tries to console her, yet Dinah cannot bring herself to speak about what truly happened or what Sam died for. Across the street, Frank and Micro keep a close watch on her from a rooftop. They intend to approach her, but when they see her broken and withdrawn, Frank decides that she is not in any state to help them. Micro suggests they should contact her through email, but Frank insists that they will only have one chance to reach her properly, so they must wait and plan carefully.
Courthouse in Foley Square.
Lewis writes a long manifesto explaining his reasons, believing himself a patriot fighting for liberty and blaming the government for trying to take away people's guns. He sends this manifesto to journalist Karen Page, imagining that she would understand him because of her previous connection to Frank. However, when Page reads his words, she feels nothing but horror. She wants the newspaper to publish it only so the public can see what kind of danger this man represents. But her editor, Mitchell Ellison, insists on waiting and alerting the FBI before taking any action. Frank and Micro watch the news about the bombings, and Frank expresses disgust at Lewis's cowardly methods of killing innocent people to prove a point. Micro reminds him that they should focus on approaching Dinah, yet Frank refuses, explaining that in such chaos, she would not be in a position to help them. Meanwhile, Rafael Hernandez visits Dinah at her home. Although Farah tries to stop him, Rafael insists on seeing her. He confronts Dinah about the failed operation and asks if what happened has any connection to Kandahar and Ahmad Zubair. Dinah only replies that the truth was the reason behind all the tragedy, offering him no further explanation. At the same time, Karen Page's newspaper publishes Lewis's manifesto along with her reply, in which she strongly condemns his acts. She calls him a coward hiding behind bombs, but Frank worries that this might make her a target. During a live radio show, Page debates with Senator Stan Ori about gun control, where Ori argues for stricter regulations, while Page defends the right to self-protection. Listening from afar, Lewis calls into the show. Hearing Page denounce him publicly enrages him, and he warns that both she and Ori stand on the wrong side of the war. His final words, Sic Semper Tyrannis, catch Frank's attention immediately, because he remembers hearing them before at Curtis's support group. Realizing the connection, Frank tells Micro that Lewis might target Karen Page next, and even though Micro doesn't see how this relates to their larger mission, Frank insists on handling it because Page is like family to him. Meanwhile, Curtis notices Lewis's absence from the group and goes looking for him. He visits O'Connor's house and finds him dead, with bomb-making materials scattered everywhere. When Curtis confronts Lewis, he tries to reason with him, urging him to stop before more people die. But Lewis, blinded by his warped sense of patriotism, attacks Curtis, declaring that he cannot let him leave. The struggle ends with Lewis knocking Curtis unconscious using his prosthetic leg. Micro traces Lewis's location and suggests calling the authorities, but Frank refuses. He wants to deal with Lewis himself. He calls Karen Page to warn her, urging her to stay away from the bomber, but she pushes back, arguing that his violent methods make him no different from the people he hunts. Frank denies this, claiming that he fights to protect the innocent, not to spread fear. Their conversation ends unresolved as both realize how far apart their views have grown. Elsewhere, Billy visits Dinah to comfort her. He pretends to share her pain, telling her that he once felt the same guilt after losing comrades in combat. He encourages her to return to work, but she says that her own mistake, using Frank's name as bait, led to the deaths of federal agents, and she will have to answer for that. Later, Billy meets Senator Ori, who plans a fundraiser for the bombing victims and hires Anvil for security. Ori insists that his movement stands against violence, even if it puts him in danger, while Billy silently questions whether such principles are worth dying for. Frank tracks Lewis to his hideout, but finds it empty. Micro calls, saying he traced Lewis's phone signal to a new location where Curtis's phone also appears. Frank rushes there and finds Curtis beaten, tied to a chair, and strapped with explosives. Lewis calls from nearby, explaining that he has taken matters into his own hands, just as Frank once did, claiming that they are the same. Frank angrily rejects this idea, calling Lewis a coward who hides behind bombs instead of facing his enemies directly. He demands Lewis to let Curtis go, but the call ends abruptly, leaving Frank to figure out how to save his friend. Meanwhile, Dinah decides to attend Sam's funeral. She tells her mother that she will tell the truth about everything that happened, no matter the cost, because someone has to take her seriously even if it destroys her career. Farah worries that her daughter is burning all bridges out of fear rather than courage, but Dinah has already made up her mind. Back at the warehouse, Frank tries to defuse the bomb as the police close in. Lewis calls again, saying that he has alerted the authorities and that he does not want Frank to die, because he believes they are fighting the same war. Frank uses the moment to tell Lewis about how Curtis lost his leg years ago during a mission when a pregnant woman turned out to be a suicide bomber. Frank's hesitation to kill her caused the death of a child and left Curtis permanently injured, a guilt that still haunts him. Hearing this, Lewis finally tells him which wire to cut and then runs away. Frank successfully defuses the bomb and saves Curtis. But when the police arrive, he has no choice but to fight his way out and escape in a stolen car.
Right there! He's heading east!
Later, Dinah drinks alone in a bar, where Micro approaches her. He reveals that he was the one who sent her the Zubair footage, and tells her that Operation Cerberus was a heroin smuggling operation led by CIA agent William Rawlins. He explains that William ordered Zubair's death and that Frank witnessed it. Dinah realizes the scale of the conspiracy.
Software confirms. Yes, he is alive.
Castle, also known as the Punisher, is very much alive and
At the Royal Hospitality Hotel, Billy and his Anvil team prepare the security detail for Senator Ori's public appearance. As they set up, Lewis disguises himself by killing an Anvil guard named Isaac and stealing his uniform and ID, allowing him to slip into the heavily secured building unnoticed. Meanwhile, Frank learns about Lewis's plan to target Senator Ori and immediately contacts Billy, urging him to evacuate everyone from the hotel and leave Lewis for him to deal with. Billy worries about Frank's presence, knowing that his appearance could draw attention from both the police and Homeland Security. He offers to get him safely out of the city, but Frank refuses, saying he must stop Lewis himself because too many lives are at stake. At the same time, Karen arrives at the hotel to conduct an interview with Ori about his stance on gun control laws. Ori tries to present himself as a reasonable man promoting safety and reform, while Karen carefully challenges his opinions. But before the conversation can continue, the calm is shattered by a sudden explosion as Lewis breaches security using homemade explosives. The blast tears through the floor and kills Ori's bodyguards instantly. Frank rushes in amid the chaos, pulling Karen out of the line of fire and helping Ori escape. However, Ori panics and pushes Karen toward Lewis while trying to flee. Lewis seizes the opportunity, grabbing her as a hostage and threatening to detonate the explosives strapped to his body. As Frank tries to follow, Anvil agents mistake him for another attacker and open fire, forcing him to flee the building. Meanwhile, Madani returns to Homeland Security headquarters after her recovery. Raphael reinstates her, but demands the truth about her actions and her connection to Frank. Determined to come clean, Madani tells him everything, how she has known that Frank is alive, and how William Rawlins has been running a secret operation linking the CIA, NSA, and Homeland Security to the illegal drug trade in Kandahar and the execution of Ahmad Zubair. Raphael finds her story hard to believe, but when he shows her files of the mercenaries killed in the warehouse ambush, she notices that all of them are ex-Anvil agents. The discovery shocks her, confirming that Billy has been involved far deeper than anyone suspected. Madani goes to confront Billy at the hotel, showing him the files that connect his company to the murdered agents. Billy denies any involvement and acts surprised, but Madani sees the lie behind his calm expression. She presses him about Frank, saying that people believe the Punisher might be responsible for the recent bombings. Billy coldly replies that Frank is not the same man he used to know, and that, if necessary, he would be willing to put him down himself. Before their argument can continue, Billy receives word of the attack on Ori and rushes out, with Madani following close behind. Inside the hotel, Frank fights through the chaos, evading both Anvil guards and police officers as he chases Lewis into the basement. There, Madani catches up to him and orders him to surrender. She tells him that she knows he is not a terrorist, but insists he must face justice and expose the truth about William and Operation Cerberus in court.
What the hell are you doing? Stand down!
He was gonna shoot you!
Why are you still pointing that gun at me?
I am trying to...
Castle, stay back.
Walk away.
Killed Stein.
Meanwhile, Lewis drags Karen into the kitchen, holding her at gunpoint while trembling with panic. Frank manages to slip away from the police and track them down. He tries to talk Lewis into letting her go, keeping him distracted while signaling Karen to act. As Lewis grows more unstable, Karen carefully cuts the white wire on his vest to disable the bomb, then fires through her bag, hitting his foot and forcing him to retreat into a storage room. Realizing that his plan has failed and that he has nowhere left to go, Lewis rewires the explosive and ends his life in a final act of destruction. Outside, Detective Mahoney and the SWAT team arrive to arrest Frank, but Karen quickly devises a plan to save him. She pretends to be his hostage, allowing them to move through the armed officers and into the elevator without being attacked. Once they are clear, Frank hands her back her gun and disappears into the night before anyone can stop him. The NYPD soon takes over the investigation.
Where is he?
Honestly.
After the violent chaos at the Royal Hospitality, Frank sits by a trash can fire, wounded and haunted by the memory of Billy's betrayal. He stares into the flames as flashes of the past replay in his mind. How Billy had once been his brother in arms, but later turned against him for money and power. Across the city, Billy appears calm and confident as he gives an interview to WHIH News. He pretends that Frank was once his friend, but now must be treated like a dangerous criminal, promising to help the law catch him. His fake loyalty enrages Dinah, who watches the interview with disgust, knowing the truth behind his mask. Frank limps back to the hideout, where Micro immediately starts patching up his injuries, but the quiet tension between them soon erupts when Frank confronts him for going behind his back to meet Dinah. Micro defends himself, arguing that Frank's reckless chase after Lewis exposed both of them and risked their entire mission. Frank insists that he had no choice, while Micro reminds him that revenge has made him blind. Meanwhile, at the Lieberman home, Sarah and the kids see the news report showing Frank as a wanted terrorist. Leo still believes Frank is not a bad man, but Zach feels betrayed and angry that he lied to their family. The once peaceful house now fills with confusion and fear. At Homeland Security, Dinah summons Billy for questioning. She wants to make him confess to killing Sam Stein, but Billy keeps his composure and denies everything. When she mentions Kandahar and Operation Cerberus, she notices a flicker of surprise on his face, especially when she says William Rawlins' name. Billy quickly hides his reaction, pretending he knows nothing. Dinah leans closer, warning him that after the hotel bombing, Frank has become more dangerous for him than ever before. Her words are calm but sharp, hinting that his time is running out. Elsewhere, William meets with Mary and James to discuss Frank's reappearance. He tells her that his past actions in the Middle East, including the intelligence he gathered, were not clean. and Frank had been part of those operations. He insists that if the truth ever comes out, it will ruin the CIA's reputation and hers as well. Marion is furious, but William manipulates her with fear, convincing her to grant him access to the CIA's surveillance network in New York so he can eliminate Frank quietly. After reviewing the interrogation footage, Raphael scolds Dinah for letting her emotions interfere, saying her personal feelings about Stein's death clouded her judgment. Dinah admits it openly. Yes, she made it personal because Russo killed her partner. Raphael orders her to locate Frank and Micro while he works on his own contacts. At the Lieberman house, things take a dark turn when two fake NYPD officers arrive after Zach's call. Sarah becomes suspicious when they insist she and her son must come with them. She senses danger and tells Zach to run, but the men capture him before he can escape. Sarah fights back fiercely, yet she is forced to surrender when they threaten her son. Upstairs, Leo manages to slip away unnoticed. Back at the hideout, Frank reforges his skull vest and prepares for war. Micro watches him load his weapons and pleads for him to think before acting. But their plans fall apart when they see the surveillance feed showing the Lieberman home empty. Micro rewinds the footage and realizes his wife and son have been kidnapped. Panic and rage fill the air. Frank contacts Leo, instructing her to reach their secret rendezvous point. He tells Micro to reveal himself and go get his daughter while warning him that if he doesn't return, Micro should go to Dinah for safety. Meanwhile, William and Billy argue about their next move. Billy questions how William could have thought Micro was dead if Wolf was supposed to handle it. He is uneasy about kidnapping women and children, but William dismisses his concerns, claiming Marion has already given him the green light. He plans to track Frank using Sarah's phone and sends his men to raid the hideout while Billy refuses to join personally. At Homeland, Raphael and Dinah meet Marion to expose William's corruption and the murder of Ahmad Zubair. Marion listens coldly, saying, "Homeland has no authority over CIA actions abroad." But when Raphael adds that William is killing agents on US soil, she becomes tense. Still, she refuses to cooperate, insisting that revealing this information would harm the nation's foreign policy for years.
Where'd they take him?
I don't know, man. That was...
Fair enough.
Later, Marion meets William again. He tries to calm her anger, saying that after Frank's death, he will blame everything on Billy to keep the CIA clean. Marion realizes how far he's gone, yet he reminds her that if he falls, she falls too. Reluctantly, she agrees, warning that he must resign afterward or she will hand him over to Homeland. At the rendezvous point, Leo finally reunites with her father. Micro holds her tightly, promising they'll meet Frank soon. Soon after, Frank arrives with Dinah, who hesitates but decides to trust him. Together, they prepare for the final confrontation, while Billy and his men discover the aftermath of Frank's assault, realizing too late that the Punisher has set the war in motion. At Homeland Security headquarters, Frank sits across from Dinah, recording his confession about everything that happened in Kandahar. His voice is calm but heavy with guilt as he admits that he was the one who killed Ahmad Zubair. Dinah listens silently, realizing that Frank's admission could expose everything about the illegal mission known as Operation Cerberus. Micro sits nearby, promising that once his family is completely safe, he will hand over all the files and recordings that prove William and Russo's crimes. Even though both men are cooperating with Dinah, Frank's eyes show that his real intention is not justice through law, it is vengeance through his own hands. Later that night, Frank and Micro wait at the cold, deserted wharf for the hostage exchange. The sound of the waves mixes with the tension in the air as Anvil agents approach, bringing Sarah and Zach with gas tanks strapped to their backs. The sight breaks Micro's heart because his wife and son look terrified and confused, believing that he has been dead for over a year. Watching from a distance through a sniper scope, Billy controls the operation with cold precision. As the exchange begins, his men puncture the tanks so that a line of fuel spills behind Sarah and Zach, making the situation even more dangerous. Billy wants to make sure that one spark could end everything in flames if Frank tries anything. Before the deal can be completed, Homeland Security units suddenly rush in, their flashing lights cutting through the fog. When Frank wakes up, his body aches and his wrists are tied to a chair in Micro's old hideout. His mind slips between dream and reality, and in those fleeting moments, he imagines dancing with Maria at their wedding, hearing her laughter and feeling her hands in his. But when he opens his eyes, all he sees is Billy's face. Billy tells him that Micro is dead and demands the password to unlock the encrypted files. Frank glares back, asking whether Billy was involved in killing his family. Billy doesn't deny knowing about it. He admits he was aware of the plan, but he insists he didn't personally take part. The words sting even more than a confession, because they show how little Billy cared about the family he once pretended to respect. Meanwhile, Dinah learns that Micro is actually alive. His apparent death had been staged as part of the plan to trick Billy and William. Now reunited with his wife and children, Micro feels both relief and guilt. He knows Frank is still trapped, and that Homeland's plan has gone wrong. Dinah is furious when she finds out Frank removed the tracker that would have led them to Billy's exact location. Micro gives her the full evidence anyway, every file, every recording. But he also confesses that he still owes Frank his loyalty. He believes Frank deserves the chance to finish his mission his own way. Inside the hideout, William joins Billy and starts interrogating Frank himself. He beats him brutally, demanding the deactivation code for Micro's files. Frank barely remains conscious, drifting in and out of memories of Maria's voice. Pretending to break, Frank agrees to give the code, but as he leans forward to type, he grabs a hidden shiv and stabs William in the side. The wound slows William, but before Frank can finish him, Billy tackles him to the ground. Together, they overpower Frank again, leaving him bleeding and restrained. Watching the security feeds, Micro realizes Frank might not survive. Against the original plan, he decides to activate the backup failsafe, a hidden camera feed that broadcasts everything happening in the hideout. If Frank dies, at least the world will see the truth about William and Billy.
And just like he was.
Afghanistan clean.
Stupid grunt, too.
Then kill you in that tent.
But you did.
You will not deny me this.
It's time. Come home, Frank.
Adrenaline. A little something.
Oh, there.
It was always gonna come down to you and me, Frank.
To watch you work.
Look at me. He's breathing. Hey, Frank.
I brought them here. Okay?
There you go. Yes.
After the bloody showdown, Frank lies unconscious and covered in blood. Dinah and Micro rush him to Dinah's house, desperate to save his life before law enforcement finds him. Her parents, Hamid and Farah, wake up in confusion as the two burst in with Frank's limp body. Hamid immediately takes charge, ordering them to bring towels and medical supplies, while Farah hesitates. whispering that this could cost them their careers. Dinah insists, saying this man saved many lives and deserves a chance to live. As Hamid works to stop the bleeding, the room fills with tension and fear. After hours of effort, Frank finally starts breathing steadily again. Dinah and Micro exchange a look of exhausted relief, realizing that, for now, he is safe. Meanwhile, across the city, Billy drags himself into the shattered remains of Anvil headquarters, bleeding and furious. He moves like a wounded predator, patching himself up and preparing for the next fight. But his rest is short-lived. Homeland Security agents surround the building, demanding his surrender. Billy smirks and replies with gunfire. The firefight is brutal, and when it ends, every agent lies dead. Billy walks out alive but battered, setting off explosives that engulf Anvil in flames. The building, once his empire, burns behind him as he disappears into the night. Back at Homeland Security, Marion James and Rafael Hernandez oversee the recovery of William Rawlins' body from Micro's hideout. They study the destroyed room filled with evidence of William's crimes. James asks where Dinah is, but Rafael stays silent, knowing she's gone off-grid with Frank. When Dinah is called to meet James and Rafael, they press her for answers about Frank's whereabouts. James accuses her of letting a wanted man go, but Dinah turns their blame around. She reminds James that William's crimes happened under her watch, and that without Frank's help, none of them would have had the evidence to expose the truth. She plays the footage from Micro's hideout, showing William torturing Frank, a scene that silences everyone in the room. Rafael questions her story about Frank escaping custody, but Dinah stands firm, saying she did what was necessary. She suggests that if Frank and Micro ever turn themselves in, it could help restore public trust. James, though hesitant, quietly agrees. Micro is finally reunited with his family at a Homeland safe house. Sarah bursts into tears when she sees him alive, wrapping him in her arms. He jokes softly that they might need a few days to get used to being a family again. Later that night, after tucking Leo and Zach in, Sarah pulls him aside, scolding him for keeping so many secrets, then kisses him, and their emotions spill over as they finally reconnect. In another corner of the city, Billy sneaks into Curtis Hoyle's apartment. Curtis wakes to see a gun pointed at him and immediately knows who it is. Billy sits across from him, calm but deadly, accusing Curtis of betraying him. Curtis tells him that he brought this on himself, that all the blood on his hands will catch up eventually. Billy threatens him for Frank's location, but before he can pull the trigger, Curtis triggers his trap. Gunfire erupts from outside as Frank snipes through the window. Billy dodges but manages to shoot Curtis in the shoulder before escaping. Curtis calls Frank, handing the phone to Billy, forcing them to speak directly. Frank tells Billy it's time to end this once and for all. Billy agrees, saying they should meet that night at the place where it all began, Central Park. He warns that if Frank doesn't show, more people will die. Frank remembers that park vividly, the carousel, the laughter of his children, and Billy standing beside him on that last day before his world fell apart.
Frankie. Remind me how it goes again.
Frank, we need this! Me and you, Frankie? Right now! To come out and save your lives right now! There's a gun, Frank. Punisher.
About pain. You're gonna learn about when you look at your ugly, mangled face.
After freeing the hostages, Frank stays with the wounded Dinah until backup arrives. Both are taken to the hospital. Dinah survives the gunshot, and Frank wakes up under custody. James and Raphael tell him that the government decided to clear him of charges. The official story now blames everything on Billy and Lewis Wilson, allowing Frank to walk free. Frank is stunned, expecting execution, but Raphael says Dinah fought for him, insisting he deserves peace. They inform him that Billy is in a coma, and no one knows if he'll ever wake or remember anything. Dinah simply hopes that he does, so he'll never forget what Frank did to him.
Oh my God, you put it on.
I'm not coming.
They're here. No, I can't. Where's Pete?
Kurt, because I was at war. You know, never times when the gunfire ends. Hey, how do you live in that? Guess that's what you're trying to figure out, huh? If you're gonna look at yourself, really look in the mirror, you got yourself, you gotta... Dude.